Hello, and welcome back to another episode of White Album 2's official side story. This is Twinkle Snow Dream. The premise of this story is, what if Haruki had gotten with Kazusa after the school festival in introductory chapter instead of Setsuna? So, we're continuing on with Kazusa and Haruki dating, and we are reliving the onsen trip. However, because Haruki's with a different girl, things are a little different. Now, Haruki is sleeping in the side room while Kazusa and Setsuna are pretty much just talking about their friendship. But Kazusa's having a hard time accepting it because she feels very guilty for taking Haruki from her. So, let's continue on from here. But before the festival, they confirmed it. The boy I like the most is Haruki Kitahara-kun from class 3E. Will that do? The guy I like most? There isn't one. At that point, Kazusa dropped out of the game. She didn't respond to Setsuna's declaration of war. Am I really your best friend? Can I be your best friend? And yet, the one by Haruki's side now, the one who won without even fighting. Why did you do that? Atonement? For sneaking a peek? Yeah, right. After the festival, 2 hours after the school festival concert, in the Twilight Music Room number 2, which had served as their changing room, the 2 backing band members who had put everything into lifting up their singing idol confirmed their feelings for one another. But, in fact, this awkward love story had another story behind it. Of course there was another story behind it. White Album 2 is such a layered story. I'm sorry, Kazusa, I must have embarrassed you then. Why the hell did you let me take him? I know you liked him too. In fact, only one person communicated her feelings in the Twilight Music Room number 2, which had served as their changing room. The shy girl who gave a waking kiss to the boy who slept as if under a spell, but then panicked and ran away. Well, because I believe that our current relationship is what's best for us. Setsuna. No, I don't think that's true. Because she still confessed, regardless of what had happened. So, if she made it known that she liked Haruki, if she really, really, truly didn't want to stir the pot, I think she would have kept that to herself. But her trying to move on and accept things as what they are, I think is very mature. And so, there was one more player who set it all on a trajectory for a tale that, as things were, had no reason to be completed. A nosy girl who handed the newly awakened boy a glass slipper and told him to find the girl it fit. Because I believe the relationship that allows the people I love to remain the ones I love the best is the best. That's a lot of bests in one sentence. You keep saying that. The best. Haruki-kun would probably get annoyed with me for being so repetitive. And now, these 2 actresses, with roles as different as princess and guard, were in the same futon, gazing at each other. Why would the 2 of us both be set on a guy like him? You're right. 2 impressive young women like us. And a petty official type like him. Oh no, Haruki-kun's going to move up in life. He'll be a full-on bureaucrat. Neither of those is especially impressive for a guy. True. Well, whatever suits him, I guess. Forgetting their positions, laughing together. Hey, Kazusa? Do you mind if I sleep here like this? Oh, yeah. I guess it would be warmer this way. Should I go and get Haruki-kun too then? Don't get carried away, Setsuna. Are you telling me not to mess around? Or not to make a move on your man? Good night. Aw, cute. I just hope this isn't too much on Setsuna. Because if she truly is in a mature enough mindset to be okay with this situation, then that's great. This is truly what'll work best for all three of them. But if she's already at her breaking point, kind of like Kazusa was with the Canon onsen trip, where she got home and just started punching the steering wheel and bawling her eyes out, then that's not healthy. It was a dream. This was the dream that Setsuna had always wished for. A dream for which she wished deeply, ardently, never to wake up. She and her best friend, with whom she could share everything, both worried over this middle school sort of romance. As companions who shared a dream, they swore eternal friendship. And their happiness was sure to increase more and more from now on. Good night. But really, Setsuna knew. She knew there was no such thing as a dream that could last forever. She knew that, as happy as the dream was, she would have to wake up sooner or later. We're here. Yeah. Pleasant times slipped by in an instant. Granted, a trip with only a one-night stay was doomed to conclude within 48 hours as it was. Oh, just as things were looking nice, just as things were like, oh, they're getting along, things are going well. And then the narration is just saying, well, that was fun, now it's over. It wouldn't be White Album 2 if it was nice, unfortunately. Kazusa's high-end imported car, bearing a few more scrapes and dents than it had before the trip, stopped right at the base of the apartment building where Haruki lived. Man, I'm worn out. Yeah, I just want to get home, take a shower, and zonk out. Maybe I'll shower too, though a nice big bath would be nice. What are you thinking about, you perv? It's your fault for putting the thought in my head. They had parted ways with Setsuna at her house 10 minutes earlier. She kept waving until they could no longer see her from the car, as though she were basking in the afterglow of this trip that she had enjoyed to such a foolish extent. Or as though she were resisting the inevitable return from her dream, the three of them, to reality alone. Oh, Setsuna. Well, see you later. Yeah. And now, their curt parting words exchanged, Haruki got out of the car, took his travel bag out of the trunk, slowly slung it over his shoulder. And Kazusa, after turning toward the passenger seat and giving a small wave, turned back, started the car, and set off. The sound of the engine gradually grew distant, bringing down the curtain on their Christmas party. Go already. I'm going. At least, that's how it was supposed to happen. But Haruki showed no sign of getting out of the car, so their parting was a failure from the start. Hey, I know. Actually, that wasn't even the first course. This is so silly. This is like two teenagers that call each other and they're like, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. He doesn't even want to get out of the car. You really don't have to worry about me. It's not about have to. I'm not holding that tightly. You can just shake me off. What, and you don't have the choice of letting go yourself? Are you kidding? Why would I? Listen. Kazusa stopped the car at this spot a scant minute before this. She pulled over to the side of the road, stepped on the foot brake, disengaged the clutch, shifted the gear into neutral, pulled the handbrake, removed her feet from the clutch and foot brake, and as soon as her right hand let go of the handbrake, she hurriedly wrapped it around Haruki's left hand. I'm serious. Kazusa. She'd said he could shake her off, but Haruki's hand had remained in the pianist's powerful grip the whole time. Kazusa's hand, soft, stiff, hot, sweaty, shaking slightly, continued to act in defiance of its owner's words. Well then, if you don't want to let go. Huh? Come here. Aww. Oh, they're so sweet. Haruki knew. If you aren't going to let go, come here. When Kazusa's words and actions diverged, he knew which of them represented her true feelings. Over half a year out of touch and 1 month of connection, he had come to understand. That's really sweet, and that's really important too. Because Kazusa has so many shields, so many barriers, just because of everything she's been through, the things she says aren't necessarily the things she wants. And obviously, you do have to really be careful. I'm not saying like sometimes she says no, it means yes. But in Kazusa's case, if she says things like, oh, I just want you to leave, oh, I want you to go, I don't want you here, but then she's desperately grasping at his hand to stay, like, it's a hard line to understand, and Haruki is gradually getting there, and I think that's great for the two of them. What? You don't have any self-will? You won't move yourself? If I did, I would shake you off. I would go home voluntarily. And you're cold, for that matter. I'm not cold. I'm just a hopeless case. I want to see you acting spoiled with me, no matter how mean I have to be for it. And Haruki's bet, as low as the odds were, hit the target almost too easily. Kazusa, shut up. Kazusa freed herself from the driver's seat and leaned over onto Haruki in the passenger's seat. She buried her face in his chest, shook it back and forth as if to dig up his bare skin from behind his sweater, and inhaled deeply. Like a dog who had finally been given her reward after being kept waiting for 2 weeks, single-mindedly taking in her master's scent and marking him with her own scent at the same time. It's so silly. I like the comparisons of Kazusa to a dog sometimes, but sometimes it just reads a little bit forced. Kazusa, you smell good. And so, faced with this earnest, slightly animalistic behavior, Haruki took a completely human action. Or perhaps showed a generosity befitting an owner, and embraced her. You're gross, Haruki. Well, I won't deny that. Generous enough that he could accept having his hand bitten, in an exaggerated attempt to hide embarrassment. Maybe I am gross when it comes to you. Maybe I'm a total obsessive creep. The fact that you're even saying that is gross. Like I said, I won't deny it. You think there's a single girl who would be happy hearing you say something that forced? No, I didn't really mean any girl other than me. Oh. This is not great. You can see she is super self-conscious, especially right now, especially after having that talk with Setsuna. She's really feeling self-conscious. And of course, Kazusa followed through with her habit, licking his wound after she'd bitten him, nuzzling up to him. I'm the only one like that. No one else. Kazusa. And this is very unhealthy, too. I just want to point this out. I love Kazusa, don't get me wrong, but saying, I'm the only one that will love you like this, I'm the only one who would think that this is cool, who would accept you as you are, that is so toxic. That is actually borderline abusive. That is a really terrible thing to say to somebody. That just, wow. Don't say that. Don't ever say that to people. I love Kazusa, but sometimes their obsession really, really just clouds her judgment. Her hands, which had been resting on Haruki's shoulders, now wrapped around his neck, and she pressed her hair against his face, passing along more of her scent. I'm the only one who can understand how gross you are, how forced, how pathetic, even reluctantly. Yeah. So I'm the only one you can make a move on. Yeah. And Kazusa likes to do those little insults, and I know that's part of her personality, but her saying it like that, I'm the only one that loves you, I'm the only one that'll love you even though you're so pathetic. That's a terrible thing to say. That is really, really bad. Don't let people treat you like that. Do not. Kazusa, get your head together. And Haruki accepted this deeper contact from her, filling his lungs with the fragrance of her hair. The soapy smell from after they had gotten out of the bath last night had vanished, but that meant Kazusa's own faint smell stimulated his brain all the more directly, wrapping him in a pleasant, melting feeling. Because he had always adored this smell, ever since the spring when he first met her. Ugh, why do you only ever spit out creepy lines? I mean, you also. We're both so gross. It gives me the shivers. Honestly. He paid no attention to any of her complaints, rubbing his cheek against hers. I'm getting chills. Seriously? Yes, seriously. I'm cold. God, you're so needy. As they exchanged these irrational criticisms, their foreheads bumped together. I'm not needy. Right. Well, I'm going home. Hey, you... As a finishing touch, Haruki stole Kazusa's lips before she could get steamed up any further. By force, even though there was no need to believe she would resist. As Kazusa shut her eyes, supremely happy, and yielded herself to Haruki completely. Closing her eyes, blocking her ears, letting Haruki cover her mouth. Kazusa emptied her mind, thought of nothing, and forced her every nerve on this intimacy with her boyfriend, praying that she wouldn't remember the conversation with her from the night before. Yep, because there's so much on her mind, she literally has to block it out. That's that gnawing guilt that she feels. And she shouldn't even feel that guilty. It's just really tricky because when your best friend in the whole world, and she doesn't have a lot of friends, mind you, which makes it even more strong a feeling. When your best friend in the world likes a guy, and then you take him, and they're trying to do their best to still be friends with you both, it's painful to see that. And it's painful to open up about it, and that's what they did last night. So of course it's going to be on her mind. She chased that bitterness to the back of her throat and kept on with this moment of sweetness, tasting only with the tip of her tongue. Finally, their lips separated. Not cold anymore, are you? No, I'm still cold. Kazusa? It was clear enough that their bodies in full contact, and the sighs against their lips and cheeks were practically burning up. What if someone walked by? Like, they said they just pulled over to the side of the road. Is nobody passing by and seeing this girl on top of a guy in the passenger seat? That just seems a little inappropriate. I'm cold, Haruki. Why are you... I don't know. And yet, Kazusa stubbornly refused to move away. I'm so happy. Everything is going so perfectly for me. Her eyes were moist now, like her lips. My heart should be warm. Her body was trembling now, like her lips. You're not cold, Haruki? Not cold at all? I'm hot, actually. And obviously, like, it could be an actual physical reaction that she's talking about right now. But it does make the illusion rather, in the book that she's talking about her mental state as being cold. She does not feel entirely safe. She does not feel entirely secure. And Haruki feels none of that. Haruki just feels fine. They are on two different pages right now. Haruki's uncertainty made its way to Kazusa. The more flustered Kazusa became, the less able she was to bridge the gap between their emotions. She realized that she was the only one who wanted a conclusion right here and now. So you're hot. Why do I want a guy like him? Why is a guy like him the one that I don't want anyone else to have? A guy like him. No one other than me would want a guy like him. That's not true. Kazusa's sense of reason threw question after question at her in her head, cooling down the burning chill Kazusa held in her heart. Oh no, Haruki-kun's going to move up in life. He'll be a full-on bureaucrat. And yet, no matter how she might struggle to remove this fluster, why someone like her? Why someone like her who anyone could fall for? Those honest expressions of affection with no malice behind them. And that's the thing. Setsuna's small comment about Haruki being really good, being a bureaucrat, putting his fickleness to good use. It is affection. And it could be a friend's affection, but she knows that it's more than that. So any compliment, any words from Setsuna, she's going to start getting jealous about, and this is what really breaks up the trio. That clear voice, earnest and yet impish, they threw her mind hopelessly into confusion. And so, ultimately, she hung onto Haruki with even greater force than before. I'm cold. The complete opposite. But the longer their bodies remained on top of each other, the more Haruki felt it. Kazusa's childish fussing, too clumsy to even be called a lie. What it was that Kazusa wanted. So then, Kazusa. Up to this point, just the dependency had been enough. Saying 2 members of a trio was enough. But this was the divide. We'll always be together, the 3 of us. In order to sacrifice herself for that oath she swore a mere day ago, she would have to turn back here. But I like it. I like having it be the 3 of us. Warm me up with your heat, will you? But someone else's words with the same meaning awakened Kazusa's instincts. Was it whispering to her to follow her own desires? Was it a warning, a sense of impending crisis? Or was it both? In exchange, I'll cool you down, Haruki. Kazusa. I'm the worst, aren't I? And so, all too easily, Kazusa scrapped the oath she swore with Setsuna. Even though they had touched each other, played around with each other a mere day prior. But I'm all right with being the worst. No, because of it. Because she had felt Setsuna's appeal as a girl with her whole body, she had no choice but to betray her. No, this isn't a betrayal. I really just don't think this is a betrayal. Because unlike what had happened in the introductory chapter when it was actually cheating, there's no cheating happening here. They are dating. Setsuna's aware that they are dating. Kazusa embracing and doing whatever she wants with Haruki is not a betrayal. Maybe it's not the greatest thing to do as far as earning brownie points with your friends, but no, it is not betrayal. That is my opinion. Because the more she liked Setsuna, the more she felt that appeal, the more she felt she wanted to be together. The more terrified she was of the trio remaining a trio. Just so you know, I'm not as stubborn as you think I am. The fact that you have to deny it in advance makes you stubborn. And just as Kazusa hoped, Haruki indulged every bit of his girlfriend's selfishness, while trying with all his might to think of a way that the trio could remain a trio. No doubt. He's mine. All mine. He isn't going anywhere. I'm not going to stop even if you say it hurts. You don't even have to say it. Which meant that she could leave the rest to Haruki. All she had to do was cling to Haruki wherever he might go. This is okay, right, Setsuna? You gave us your blessing, right? So there shouldn't be any problem, right? That hurts Haruki. I have so many mixed feelings. This happening, I still do not think that this is a problem. Kazusa's mindset where she deliberately is thinking of kind of pushing the trio apart because of her own insecurities, that's not great. However, if it were, well, I don't want to say if it were me, but I can empathize with Kazusa's fear if the other girl still actively has a crush on her boyfriend. Then it would make me a little bit uncomfortable hanging out all the time and doing whatever. Like, yes, you do have to have trust in your significant other. You do have to have trust in your friends. But at the same time, it's just a really awkward situation. I would try to put some distance between us, kind of like Kazusa is. And yes, it's sad for Setsuna, but at the same time, like, that's life. That's kind of what happens. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I can empathize with both of them. I can understand why they're both doing the things they're doing, the ways that they are. So in any case, we will stop there for today. So thank you so much for being here with me on this episode of the White Album 2 side story, Twinkle Snow, and I'll be back with the next episode shortly. So until then, hope you take care. See you.